that smooth. Today's video is how to get a factory painted finish on your kitchen cabinets. Before we get into the painting of kitchen cabinets, I wanted to share with you a new app. I've talked about it in the live stream with some of the late night guys. It's a new way to get work. It's called Handyworks. A lot of you are probably familiar with it. It's also good for homeowners too. Get you in touch with service technicians that can provide a service for you. The reason I like it so much is there's no fees. There's no monthly service fee. It was developed by guys like us, people who work in the construction industry, not by a tech company. Their model is much more fair to everybody. Once you enroll and get accepted and pass a background check, you get booked jobs, not leads, where you're competing with a whole bunch of other guys for the same potential project and get billed a fee for the lead. The only fee is your background check. And until 2021, they only take 1% of the transaction. It's all fixed pricing, so there's no bidding, no estimating. There is no contract. You can cancel at any time, delete the app, and you're done. Because there is no monthly subscription. They never take money from you. You don't have to pay them anything. I will put a link how to enroll in the description below. You have to have experience, you have to have insurance, and not have a criminal background. Go to the link below. Quick video on how to enroll, apply, see if you get accepted. Now, back to creating beautiful, smooth painted cabinets. These are 99.9% prepped for paint. I put a video out last week about prepping these doors and frames for paint. You might want to check that out. This here is an area where I tack things off and I'll be sanding. I'll be sanding between every coat. It takes about 30 minutes for these to dry until they're ready to be sanded. That is the big difference between professional grade cabinet paint and homeowner grade cabinet paint. This is the paint room here. No sanding is done in this room, just spraying. They hang here for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and at that time they're dry enough where dust won't stick to them. Then they get moved back there on that garage rail, hung up until they're fully dried at about 30 minutes, and then they go to sand. This is my mixing station. Now this is the lacquer thinner. We'll be getting a new one of these. This is the spray gun. It's a DeVilbiss FLG4 HVLP. I'll put a link to this in the description. Comes with the regulator. This is the key to this whole situation here, is this big 220 air compressor. Now I have it set at 70 psi. This is the lacquer, pre-catalyzed finished white top coat. It just comes white and it is full all the way up to the top. The reason I transferred it into that can over there is because I got this one at a discount because it was dented. I'll put a link to this also in the description so you can see what this is. Very hard finish with this Ultralac pre-catalyzed finish. Got to put the respirator on when you open this thing up. Give it a good mix. It's very thin paint or lacquer, not actual paint. So I'm going to mix it in the same cup that I mixed the last batch in. Don't need to get new ones every time. I just eyeball it. If I need to add more, I can just add it to this. This is the first coat, called the sealer coat, sanding sealer coat. It'll raise the grain and seal up the wood. Got a fresh filter. I used to use a viscosity cup when I first started doing this. You can just kind of get an idea of how thin that is. The next coats won't be this thin. Be a little bit thicker. So this neat little stand here, I got at Harbor Freight. I have it screwed to this piece of wood. This is the first door. This is the top of the door, and as you can see, I've got hooks in it. So the way I do this is I blow it off, tack it off, then blow it off again. Good to go. What I do is I got a cross breeze going. There's a door right behind you that's open, and the fan's blowing out. It takes just a few minutes for it to clear out, and being on this side, the upwind side, I don't really have to worry about breathing it in. I'm going to change the spray pattern a little bit for spraying this frame here. I don't need such a wide pattern, so I'll narrow it and also reduce the paint a little bit. Or I can just move faster. I want to show you an example of what I'm looking for before I take it into that other room. Right there, a little bit of wood filler. So I'll use a razor blade to get that out and a little bit of sandpaper. This is the first door, 100% dry, ready to sand. I'll be sanding with 220 on both sides. I just realized I don't think I strained. I don't think I used my strainer on that one. That first coat, don't get too concerned about the first coat. You're going to sand 50% of it off. So even though I should have strained it, I didn't, but we'll be all right. I'm going to start off with 220 on the palm sander on low, both sides, and then I'll finish with some hand sanding. I'm going to have to turn the volume down and let you listen to some groovy music. Notice it's not blown up at all. That's because this paint is lacquer. It's liquor. If you start getting globlets of lacquer or paint, you understand that means we have paint. Or it's not dry yet. So yeah, sure. It's time to put the last and final coat on. The back side is perfect, so I'm going to put one last coat on the sides and the face. Then this door will be 100% done, and I'll just keep moving on to the next one. There we go. Machine, which side? Oh yeah. Looks amazing. Amazing. It was a late night last night, but we got it done. Thanks to everybody who hung out with me in the live stream. The last coat is the most important. All the previous coats you can screw up because you're going to scuff in between, and you can easily sand out an imperfection. Those of you who watched the live stream, available on Patreon only, you got to see one of my screw ups and how I fixed it. You can see that. This is the last coat. So right now it's time to put these cabinets together. I'll show you what they look like once they're assembled. This is the back side here. Same nice finish on the back side as the front side. You got to put that last coat on thick. You put it on thick enough so that it wets out and levels off but doesn't run or sag. This is a factory finish. Now if you were just to paint these cabinets with a brush, a roller, you're going to see that grain show through, and it's going to look like a DIY job, and it's going to look bad. I did have someone in the previous video tell me that they love their oak painted cabinets where the grain shows through. The fact is, when people show up to look at your house, if they're going to buy it or you have guests over, it's just going to look crappy. If you do it right, like I showed in the videos, you're going to have cabinets that look like they belong there. And if you go to sell your house, they're not going to be thinking, we need to replace all these ugly old painted oak cabinets. You're going to be like, oh wow, there's some really nice cabinets in here. So please click the like button, take a look at my other videos, subscribe, also put on the notification, which is the bell, and I will see you in the next one. Keep in mind, I have a big remodel that these cabinets are going into. You're not going to want to miss it. It's going to be a tough one.